pie should be
So
asked
sure it's
for.
good.
I know.
Well,
I
I would think there's no way I would answer that question.
Good pie. I didn't think we were gonna have any pumpkin pie. On Thanksgiving.
Well, you sounded so disappointed.
Oh, that's when you made one, right?
I had pumpkin, but I decided not to bake it.
It was very good. I wonder what happened to the whipped cream. Somebody eat it all?
No, it's in the refrigerator.
Well, when I get ready to have another piece of pie, I should probably have another one
I mean,
soon.
look, here's some white loins. A long time ago, I drew that leaf right
That's
there.
very nice.
And that one, isn't that good? I
Yeah.
recognize it anywhere. That's my drawing. One time I took an art class and we were supposed to go draw a plant and I started and I got that far and I dropped the class. Okay. How do we do this? Well, see,
Are
I
you
guess
on? He is on.
Hmm?
He's on.
yeah, you can just turn it on whenever you feel like it. Don't tell me
He's
when.
on.
Well, we'll start with where were you born? I'm using my little questionnaire here right now.
Born in Cooper County.
Cooper County. Can you be more specific? Out in
Well,
the country?
Cooper County, out in the country.
You know, Cooper County.
About 4 miles southwest of Boonville.
Okay, so you guys were out. Did you have close neighbors?
Oh, yes.
Did-
Fairly close.
Yeah.
Half a mile.
Where's that from?
See what?
Your pad.
This? We're gonna go.
4 miles southwest of Boonville, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have the river and the road that takes us to Boonville, Main Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
This must be south.
Yeah.
This way, south, north. And if this is north and that is south, and now we're standing like this, then east would be over here, right?
We're gonna have
That's right. It'll be east and
geography.
west.
Okay, now where are you?
Out this way. Mm-hmm.
Out this way. Okay, 4 miles. Now, I would say that that's by, if you take that road, the one we usually take when we go to Kansas City, that goes out by the Kemper Golf Course, and
Goes on Pond.
goes
Across on Pond.
I-70 comes from Columbia this way. It comes in here like this. I-70. And goes on towards Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just a half a mile up from there. When we have a house up there.
Where's Pond?
Hmm?
Oh, is Highway 5 anywhere there?
Is this Highway 5?
Highway 5. Highway 5 is over here. Cuts across right here somewhere.
Okay, so you're a little bit
Today,
further.
you watched
Further out, and I'm on the other side
That's
of 570.
Okay, so you were born at home,
trying to put up.
and there were how many?
There before you.
3. No, 2.
Ernest and Engel
His name 2, yeah.
were already there.
How old are they?
Well, Ernest was about 5 and a half, and Emil was 2.
Can you imagine being Ernest and Engel's younger brother? Oh,
Oh,
wow, that was something, wasn't it? Okay, so and then Grandma and Grandpa, and was there anybody else live there?
Not them, no.
Okay, dogs, cats.
Grandma Neff they'd already moved out from Grandma Neff's.
Yeah.
Mules, cows. Did you had animals there?
Oh, yes. Cows, some milk cows, some beef cows, some horses and mules, hogs and sheep, chickens and turkeys.
Jim,
Did Grandpa own that place?
No, he
Virginia.
rented it. Cash rented it.
And he was farming.
okay.
What kind of house was it? How big?
It was about, a 5-room house. It wasn't too big.
With an outhouse.
What'd she
I guess
say?
I would assume that, huh?
Yeah.
What'd you
outhouse
say,
was
Anna?
right.
Because I remember
We had
That's
no
tough.
we did up there.
Yeah,
no modern facility.
Yeah.
No.
it's not very good.
The
made it.
old slop
I
jar and
You carried water in, or did you pump it? I mean,
But it's not too good.
no, it's pump out well outside. They go out the well and pump it.
So Grandma farmed and Grandma did farming and everything.
Well, she helped it. She raised a lot of garden and helped on the farm too. And took care of the kids.
Well, how old was she then? Do you know how old she was?
Yeah, Grandma was 22.
She was 17 when I
22 or 3, yeah, about 22 years older than I am. She's about 22 when I was born. I think.
And her mother didn't live there, but her mother lived in Boonville.
Her mother lived out,
That was later.
at that time, her mother lived west of Boonville about 3 miles or 4.
So how long did you guys live there where you were born?
12 years.
Yeah, so I did.
Then why did you leave there?
Mom and Dad come over here in Hard County, bought a farm
Oh, so you moved just from the house where you were born to where? To
to
the house where Grandma lived?
7 miles southeast of Fayette.
Mhm.
No, down on
The old Ricketts.
the old Ricketts farm. we call
Oh, the Ricketts
So
farm.
you
Is that
lived
down
12.
W?
it. Down W, yes, a good ways, and then off of W about a mile.
Is that right after they built the bridge, or because Grandma fusses about them building the bridge? Did that have something to do with you guys coming over? Or
She said she would never move over here then.
It says it hadn't been, the Boonville Bridge, she'd never had to come to Hard County.
which is of course baloney, right? Because they had other ways to get across.
So it was about
ferry.
ferry is all.
Well, you can go on ferry.
Well, no, it should, sure, but
But
Yeah.
it was just had just been built then.
yeah, it had just been built. Well, it was built, I think it built about 24. We moved over in 28. I think the bridge was completed about 24.
Or you were born what year?
I was born in 1916.
So you guys moved over. You gotta help me out, Kai. I'm
Well, how many kids? You stayed there for 12 years after you were born, so you moved over when you were 12?
Mm-hmm.
So Aunt Brady was already here.
It was all the boys.
Everybody was born after they came over here.
She's the only one born after him. She's born in 1929.
And okay, so you started out in school over there because you were 12 years.
Right.
When did you start school? I mean, did you all
Well,
start at the
6
same
years, when I
time?
was 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Hickory Grove,
One room schoolhouse?
1 room school.
Oh, is that the place where you guys
Oh,
tell
I mean,
stories
Pam.
about doing something nasty to your male teacher? Or was that-
No, that was over here.
What kind of teacher you have over there? Was that a male or
No, we had all female teachers. Women teachers.
was it like one teacher for the whole place?
That's right.
What do you remember about it? About school?
Oh, it was real nice. Yeah. We played ball every recess and every noon. We'd go out and play ball if it wasn't snowy or icy. And yeah, enjoyed it.
What do you remember about Uncle Emil and Uncle Ernest when you were little? Were they as honored as they are now?
No. Ernest was a good boy. Emil he was all right too, but he got in a fight with a teacher time or two. He wouldn't do what teacher told her. Emil was a little honored. Tried to pull her blouse off one time. And
That's a little
That's a
honored.
little on.
she was going to whip him, and he just pulled the buttons off her blouse.
Well, what did she do then? Did she tell your parents?
I don't know if she did or not. I suppose maybe she did. I don't know. Of course, our parents always told us if we got a whipping in school, we'd get one at home.
That's a
Did he get a
familiar
whipping?
line.
Yeah, I've
as I
heard that
recall.
somewhere.
I don't believe in that though, because the teacher can be wrong sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah.
But
And why get
that,
two?
that makes you think.
Yeah. but-
Yeah, it makes you
What
think.
makes you think that your
Once in a
parents
while,
are
a
having
teacher's
teachers up,
wrong.
and that's
Yeah.
probably
And that's a good deal.
Well, who was the stricter one? Grandma or Grandpa?
Grandma.
She was one who usually spanked you or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly. When Pop spanked, he spanked. But I didn't get him spanked hardly.
You didn't know.
I saw the older brothers get too many. I knew better.
What, were you the good kid in the family?
Yeah. And I was at that time. And come on down. Let's see. Jake was next, wasn't he?
Raymond.
Raymond was a good boy. He was a good boy. Jake was
the one
kind
who had a lot of trouble.
Jake had a lot of trouble. And Hillard was a good boy.
Oh, that makes sense. Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
They
it
don't
does.
change much, do they?
Jake, I think Uncle Jake's always had a lot of trouble. I mean,
Yeah.
No,
he
I
just seems like the kind who would have.
question.
Yeah, so.
The second, no, okay, the question.
And then, of course, I can see what phone.
When did you?
Although I would think that Uncle Ernest
When did you do what?
would have been honored too.
No,
When
he
did
was,
you
of course, he
leave
was
and
5 years
why?
older than I was, 5.5.
I didn't leave.
26, 5 minutes.
I'm talking to Brandon.
Oh.
I mean, that's the next.
And he might have done
question.
some things that I didn't
The
recognize.
third
Okay.
one is
But he was, Ernest was a good boy. Good
So who
student.
got all the whippings at home?
Well, Ernest and Emil both got weapons.
Ernest was oldest, so oldest one
Oldest
was
always
the
gets.
and then Abel was honorary, so he got lots. And you learned from them.
I learned from him, that's right.
So if you were good, you didn't have to get them, huh?
That's right.
Well, that's nice.
If you done what your parents told you to do, you wouldn't have to get any of it. Isn't that right, Liz?
Honey, I don't have on my.
fourth one says
Glasses,
where
so I don't
were your mother and your father?
Elizabeth, is that right?
Liz, is that right?
What?
Hello.
I was telling him, if you, when I was a boy, if you listened to your parents, I didn't get any whippings.
Come right
Do
in.
what they told you to do, you wouldn't get any whippings. See?
Where'd you get Jingle Bell?
Hi, Katie. I got my jingle.
This is getting too noisy.
My mommy got my
When did
jingle
you
bell.
quit school?
We might decorate.
Oh, wait,
Take-
let's
I-
stories about the male teacher, huh?
Take off your wrap
Right.
and listen to the
That was
interview.
obviously before that.
Yeah.
So you moved over here, and your grandpa was farming, and I mean your dad was farming, and wait a minute, were they the two of them fighting a lot? Your dad and mom?
Yeah,
Did they always
always did.
yelling?
Yeah, sometimes they yell and cuss each other.
Did they do that in German or English?
Well, in English.
Grandpa wouldn't talk in German.
Could
Grandma?
he speak German?
I think he could.
Oh yeah, he can speak some German.
But
He
wouldn't
said, when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. He didn't believe in speaking German.
That's right, he didn't believe in speaking German.
Did y'all go to church?
Every Sunday,
Was it a
almost every Sunday.
which church?
In the Evangelical Church at Bellingville. Bellingville was about 3 miles south of where we live.
Did
That
Grandpa go
sound
to?
like Town?
Yeah, it's just off Highway 5. Just off Highway 5 on the left side.
Did Grandpa go?
Yes, he did. He sure did.
I read there was a church in New Franklin that spoke German for a long time, but that y'all didn't go to German speaking church.
The one in Billings,ville did too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did too, some, yeah. But not too much. One in Boonville spoke more German than ours did. I think they had the German preacher there once a month or something.
They don't call it evangelical anymore.
No.
It's United Church of Christ now. It's not Church of Christ, it's United Church of Christ because it united with some Methodist churches, and in fact the Christian church is talking about merging with the United Church of Christ. But I don't think they'll ever do it.
We used to drive hogs all the way from the farm there about 3 miles south to Bellingsville. You have to leave daylight of the morning and drive our fat hogs to market. Didn't have no way to haul them, except in a high-wheel wagon.
You would drive them in
Drive
the
'em
wagon, you mean?
No,
Or
drive 'em
On the road.
On the road, dirt road,
to
to market, to the stockyard. That stockyard at Bellingsville.
oh,
Train came through there and picked them up.
Okay. When did you go? Did you go to town and play around? Like, you know,
Oh, no.
Saturdays?
No.
did you go
No.
buy candy?
Well, the only time I remember buying candy really is when I used to haul radishes and vegetables to town on a horse. Mom would help me get it out and show me how to do it. And of course, it didn't take me long to learn how to do it either. And we'd get that stuff out of there, and early in the morning I'd get my horse up, and she'd help me on the horse, and with a couple sacks across the horse, and I'd head for town. I'd ride to town and sell
Get your
radishes
chair,
and stuff.
Kathy.
And if I got $1, $1.50 worth, why, whatever I got for it, I'd buy a nickel's worth of candy and come home and just be happy and all right. Get all kinds of candy for a
Did you
nickel.
go by yourself?
You know,
No. Where were the older boys?
You have
They
to
would
put
help.
this on,
my
and
dad.
then it's ready to die.
So you go like.
So you were the earliest merchants.
Yeah,
Well, where did you sell them?
house to house.
How's
Okay.
that?
House to house.
Did the older boys do that
I
too
know.
ever, or were you the first one to do it?
No, I was the first one to do it really. All Ernest might have done some of it in helping us, you know, or something like that.
Oh,
Anyone ever did care much about doing it.
you're interviewing Daddy, but I remember hearing Uncle Ernest tell the story.
Talk.
Telling a story about one time Grandma and Grandpa went to town and left all the kids at home. And somebody broke a window.
Well, that was after we moved over here.
Oh, over here. Anyway, they rushed to town somehow. I guess Uncle Ernest drove in, bought the window, and put it back in before Grandma and Grandpa got home.
Went on a horse all the way to town.
Oh, on the
7 miles. Who said? Well, when did we put it in there?
They were gone for a while then, I guess, huh?
Yeah, when they went, they stayed a while, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Aunt Maxine and Aunt Bertha talking about the time, and that's after Grandma and Grandpa separated. And the women were living down there with Grandma. And Grandma went to town, so the girls, Aunt Bertha and Aunt Mildred, Aunt Maxine hurried up and baked the cake, and they ate every bit of it before Grandma got home, so she wouldn't know they baked it. They ate the whole thing.
We're supposed to have cake, huh?
They were supposed to use the sugar.
Yeah, they weren't supposed to use sugar.
It was a precious
Wasted. So they just ate it all, so she wouldn't know it.
After you moved over here, and we're on the Ricketts place, was Aunt Bertie born shortly after that?
The next year.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
What do you remember about it?
Well, I remember when we took Mom to the hospital on Monday.
Oh, she went to the hospital. Was it the first time she got
Well,
there?
she went to the hospital or over to
She
her
went to
mother's
Grandma.
house. Went to her mother's
Grandma
house. She done. Grandma Nell. They took her over there.
Was she in labor or something, or did they take her over there prior to her due date or whatever?
No, I think she just started. Maybe I imagine. I don't know. No. That's why I didn't know anything about it. No.
You didn't know she was pregnant?
No, I didn't know she was pregnant.
You guys was dense?
Was
or
she
what?
always round like I remember
Well,
her?
she's short and always wore a big dress and a big apron, see, and you know, it's pretty obvious it could be that you would notice it when you went with them every day.
Yeah. And she just never said anything about it?
No, that was a sin to say anything about a baby being born to a boy, or a girl either one, a young one, you know. Shoot.
Well, where did you think they came from?
Well, we knew, but she didn't know
didn't
we
think
knew.
they knew.
Well, we saw the cows.
Sure, you're living far.
We saw the calves being born all the time, and the hogs. I remember when Ernest had some hogs there on the Ricketts place after we moved over here. And he always, when I was going to have pigs, he stayed with us till the pigs was over. I don't care, all night he'd stay with us. And I was always Ernest's buddy, and I was always ready to go out there with him. And Mom wouldn't want me to go with him because I was going to have pigs, and I wasn't supposed to see us out having pigs. 13 years old. Yeah, I wasn't supposed to know where they come from. Yeah, that's it.
Well, they tell stories about repressed sexuality, and I guess that's where they come from. that kind of
wrong,
thing.
Lauren.
That's really bizarre.
Yeah. I believe that though, knowing Grandma.
Yeah, it does sound like Grandma. doesn't it? Well, what about when she was born? Where was Grandpa? Was he with her?
Yeah, he took her over there.
So when did you first hear that?
Well, the next day, I think.
She told me they hadn't slept with each other for 6 weeks or so.
Well, probably. They had spells for time, a long time. They wouldn't stick to each other.
Did they badmouth each other to you guys?
Sometimes, yeah.
Both of them?
Well, yeah, sure. They talk back and forth to each other.
Who told you about it, Bert? I guess one of the things I'm curious about is, Grandma always talks about her boys and then she discounts her girl or forgets her or ignores her. And I was wondering if they bothered to even tell you since it was a girl.
Just a stinking little girl.
Stinking girl. Yeah. Hardly
That's what
worth
she used to
mentioning.
always
I
say.
suppose when my dad came home after the baby was born, he told us.
Was he excited to have a girl?
I don't remember. He was not.
Were you?
I suppose he was. Yeah, we were. Sure.
They were
we was
shocked.
glad we was glad to have a sister. Thought a lot of her. And she had that bone that decayed in her leg from her knee to her hip and growed a new one in there. And carried her on pillars like this for a couple of years.
Okay, how old was she?
It happened when she was about a year and a half, I think. Something like that.
Then she had it again, didn't she?
Year and a half.
Had another spell of it when she was about 6, didn't she?
Well, no, that's the same deal. It just
Well, I know.
kept on. And then it just kept on getting worse and worse all the time, And finally, why it goes back, and then when the new bone growed in there, why she got so she could get around on crutches. I told her not to put weight on her leg, and she walked around on crutches for a couple of years, I guess.
Her crutches.
No, I don't think it's homemade crutches. They're out there.
They're hanging out here on the
They're
porch.
out there.
I wonder what she has. Does anybody?
Osteomyelitis.
Osteomyelitis.
Hey, little
Cover
girl.
your mouth, kid.
I don't know what y'all want me to do. What I mean, I think it's something that sounds real interesting. Y'all don't ask me what should I tell it, or just answer your question.
Just do
No.
like you do normally. Don't act normal. Don't. Yeah, if you think of something, go ahead. Okay, so we got up to as far as the Ricketts place.
And Aunt Bertie was gone.
Aunt Bree was born. I want to hear the story about your school there because remember about that male teacher. Can you tell us about that?
The Dudgeon School?
I guess. This is how many of you guys were going to school there?
Yeah, let's see. There's Emil and myself and Ernst already have school. And Raymond and Jake, I guess.
Yeah.
There's 4 of us going to school.
Fine.
We had to ride a horse about 2 miles or 2.5. You ride a horse or walk, one of the two.
How many horses did you say?
We took 2 horses, 2 on each horse. And
Why do you gonna need this?
we had Harold Bizzle was our teacher one year.
Who is that?
He was a male teacher and was a real fine teacher. He played with us boys every time we played games. Every time he's out, in other words, at noon or recess, he'd play with the boys and the girls too. He was just a real fine fella. And
What'd you play?
oh, it was a hardball most of the time, hardball. Sometimes the girls put a net up for basketball. Or if the snow was on the ground, we'd play in the snow. I have what they call a fox and a goose, you know. Things like that. And
I don't she go in there with her light.
the next year, well, we had Bert Johnson for our teacher. And I think that was our last year in school, probably. I was about 16, and Amy was probably 18. I might have been about 15. But anyhow, Bert Johnson was a teacher, and he was one of them smart aleck sort of guys who thought everybody had to do exactly what he said do, and
No,
he was
Mark.
overbearing, see. And Jake had trouble with his kidneys, sound,
Mark.
and when he had to go, he had to go. He couldn't hold out from 1 o'clock to a recess sometimes, and we got tired of him wetting his pants. So Jake had to go, and the teacher told him he couldn't, and we told him he could. So we just got up and told him to go on to college. College was outside, and one word led on to another, and the teacher decided he was going to whip us. See, of course we just both grabbed him, put him down, and washed his face in the snow. I mean, we washed it good. And boy, he got so hot, he said, well, when I get up here, I'm going to do this and going to do that. I said, that's all right, we'll let you up. You just let him up. But he decided not to do this and that because he knew he couldn't handle us.
You and who?
Emil and I. Shoot, we had him one day. We were good big boys. And we wrestled every day at home. Shoot. We knew how to wrestle. So after that, of course, he said, you want to tell her dad and all that. I said, that's fine too. Make it never tell. Because anybody know that a smaller kid has to go to the potty, he has to go. So why punish him and make him stay in school when he wet his pants, see? You can't do that. Well, you can, but it's the wrong thing to do, and we knew it. So that kind of settled that part of it. And he never did think much of us after that. And of course, we...
Didn't think much of him either.
No, it went both ways, you know.
He likes those lights.
But he never did try to bully us around much after that, because we knew that we had to do what he told us to do.
And when Jake had to go, he got to go, huh?
That's right. Jake had to go, he had to go. And I suppose Hillard was in school too. There might have been 5 of us in school.
Of course, Hillary wouldn't have been much help for you then.
No, he was just probably first grade, maybe Jake in the second or something like that. So,
Did that school only go through 8th grade?
yeah, we'll go to the 8th grade, and one teacher done it all, of course.
Mark.
And
Mark.
Well, is that, you mean you were in the 8th grade then?
Come back.
the last year I was in the 8th grade, yeah. I took 2 grades in 1 year. I took the 7th and 8th in 1 year. And
How'd
got
you
out
do
of
that?
school. Huh?
How'd you do that?
So I don't know. They just allowed that at that time if you was worked hard enough at it. You know.
Did you have homework?
Oh yeah, we had homework. Sure, we had homework. My dad used to help us with our homework quite a bit. My dad was smarter than Mom was, as far as bookwork is concerned. So Mom didn't have much school, and Pop had more school than she did. So he was smarter than she was, as far as bookwork is concerned. He could spell a lot better, and he's good in arithmetic, and of course I challenged him on arithmetic because I got pretty good at it myself, and I could. But he helped us out a lot.
If you had gone on, would you have had to go into town then?
If we went to high school, we'd had to went to town, and of course most of the kids then were starting to go to high school, but we was having a hard time, and Dad said we didn't have time. We couldn't afford to go to high school. We'd had to either ride a horse all the way to school, 7 miles,
Move to town.
or stay uptown with somebody, and instead of town, we'd have to pay something for our board up there, or take a bunch of food up there, and run back and forth. And they would, he needed us on the farm to help, so we had to stay at home.
So who was the first kid to go to high school?
Raymond.
Right after you. Did he finish?
He didn't finish.
Well, yeah, I think he did.
I don't think he graduated, but maybe he did. But I thought when they had a reunion in the class, he said something about he didn't really graduate with him, but they asked him to come back in. I don't know. I didn't think.
But I really got the credit for that because he was with me then. Raymond was. See, Pop and Mom separated in the spring of 1937, and I don't know exactly how old Raymond was then, but I wasn't but 20. I'd been 37, 70. I'd been 21 years old that fall. I was 20 years old. And Raymond's 4 years younger than I am, so he was 16. And that's about the time when Johnny got out of school, was when he was 16. See, so of course I wanted to go to school of worst kind, and I didn't get to, so I wanted to help Raymond get to high school.
Well, you went to business college for a while, right? Business school, that is?
About 2 or 3 years later, yeah, I kept bothering my dad and Mom both about going to school. I wanted some more schooling, and finally, and I worked out some. 20 cents an hour on digging bridge footings and stuff for the county, and of course we've done a lot of other work. Done anything we could do, and so he helped me go to school. And Emil and I both went to Dunkel's been to school over Bunda, and stayed with our uncle.
Uncle Jay?
No, Uncle Brickner, some Brickner.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to school over there, and of course, when school was out, we went to a private school, Mr. Dunkel, and when 4 o'clock come, that's when you got out of school, and you got 3 like you did now, you got out at 4. Why, we lived there in town with our uncle, and we had nothing to do when we got home, so we just stayed right there in school. He stayed there, and we stayed right there and stayed right on, sometimes till 6 o'clock. And then we'd run home and eat a little bite, and had night school at 7. We'd be back at 7 for night school. Had night school from 7 to 9. And I graduated from school in 1 year's time, and got upstairs, started taking shorthand and typewriting. Had shorthand and typewriting upstairs. And I started taking that the last month or 6 weeks. But then I never did get to go back, so I didn't learn any more about that. I lost what I did know, I didn't get enough of it.
What's he playing with? Something rattle.
After you had a summer break and then you didn't get to go back?
Yeah, that's right. And you go back the next year, see.
Not enough money.
That's right.
Was that when you ended up being out on your own?
Well, I didn't get on until I was 20 years old, and that was 16, 17. That's right. I suppose, well, Pop and Mom had a lot of trouble when they separated, you see, in the spring of 37, and I was already really on my own because I was already bought that thrash machine. I bought a thrash machine in 1936. And so I probably went to school in 1935, I think. I'm not for sure what the double probably 35.
Oh,
That's during the Depression.
That's right.
I ran across
A
this
real
as a
depression.
year old, but yeah.
Pop and Mom separated in the spring of 1937, we moved up here just
That's gone.
east of town here, a mile and a half, where Bankhead lives now.
Yeah.
Rented that place, and of course we already had a tractor, and we was farming some, renting some, and I sheared sheep all over the country.
That's a cake.
Had a 36 International truck. We hauled this and that for anything we could haul. We hauled scrap iron to St. Louis, and even picked up bones. And believe it or not, we even picked up bones, dead animals. A cow died or something out in the field, and bones was worth something then, and we'd go out and pick up them bones and take them to St. Louis and get something for them.
That was, you were living with Grandma then?
Grandma was living with us, really.
And us was.
Katie, you can't go in.
See, Emil,
Tell Katie
Emil
not
had
to
gotten married.
pick up the lights.
Emil had gotten married, and him and I were partners. And about that time we split up, I think. And when we came up here to this place up here, when Pop and Mom separated, why, everybody came with us except Jake. So there was Raymond and Hillard and Bertie and Mom. That I was the daddy of, really, because I was the oldest one. And Raymond was still going to high school. I sent him to high school, and Hillard went to high school.
Jake did too.
So would they move to town or go back and forth every day?
No, we lived right up there then. They went from there, see, and walked, I guess. And Jake went to high school too. My dad saw that he got to go to high school then too.
Oh, that's right. Jake stayed with him.
He stayed with him, yeah.
So it's just Grandpa and Uncle Jake?
That's right.
Why did Uncle Jake stay with you? You guys had a choice, I guess?
Well, I guess so, yeah. I think so. And then, of course, later, why, they went back together again, some, and we stayed up there at on that place a year. And that fall, we bought the Dudgeon place down here. Amy and I bought the Dudgeon place together. And we paid, what was it, $6,000, I think, for the place. And we had to pay $900 down on it, something like that. And Mom borrowed $500 from her mother to pay down on it, and Uncle Emil and I we finally rigged up $400. We finally got over $400 and made the $900 down payment on the Dexter place. And then about that next spring, then, why, Mom went back to Pop. They lived over there where, on this side of where Uncle Emil lives now. And we batched down there on the Dudgeon place because Emil and Lois moved out then. They moved down there by where Perkins lived down there now, in that area there. And so I batched down there with Raymond and Hillard. And Bertie went with Mom, went back, when she went back to the old man wife, she went with him. He went with them. So Hillard and Raymond and I batched on the Dudgeon place, but I had a lot of help then. I had a lot of help hired, and we always had a bunch of guys there. We just batched this and that. And then, of course, then Pop and Mom didn't last long over there, about a year maybe, or 6 months or something like that. And she left him again, come down and stayed with us. And then we had a cook. See, Mom cooked for us. Milked the cows and everything. Then we got to milking cows in 1937. 1937 we started milking cows. We started the milk route and went to Columbia, and the first thing we hauled milk with to Columbia was a 1932 Sport model Chevrolet Roadster. We took a rumble seat out of the back and put the cans in the back of that and hauled milk to Columbia every day. And the only way we cooled the milk, we had a spring down there. We had a tank of water, and we'd pump that tank of water full every night, and
What do
put
you
a cans
chew
of milk
at,
in there
Mark?
and stir the milk all the time. We hold it and stir it, right?
What do you
Keep
chew
stirring
at?
the milk all the time.
Come
Stir
here.
the water around it so it cools the milk.
Oh, he has
Keep
cookie,
trying
yeah,
to.
see. Hi,
You stir
sugar. You want to come here a minute?
Yeah, yeah.
I'd see your cookie, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Took two up to it. One guy had
Are you a good fella?
Had to pump the thing full and stir it all the time for a long time to get it to cool down good. And then that would keep that milk, see, and then the next morning's milk, well, we'd have to get up early in the morning milk, and then the next morning's milk, the warm milk, we'd take it right home to Columbia.
Why did you fail?
Fed had no place for it.
It wasn't a dairy.
You had to take, there was a dairy there.
They had a dairy at Columbia.
Hillcrest
that
or
would take it.
Central? Was it Hillcrest or Central?
Melville, wasn't
No.
Uh-uh.
There used to be a dairy between here and Coney, wasn't there?
There was a Hillcrest and
Hillcrest,
a
I believe.
Central, both.
Hillcrest and Central both is right, but I think Hillcrest is what we took it to start with.
So, how'd you meet Mother?
And she told Grandpa about it when he came in, and he said, well, why didn't you kill him?
You don't know much about that one?
Oh, no, I couldn't tell you much about it. I remember they got in several fights.
Yes, empty.
And that's the way it went. Of course, then I didn't meet Mother till, my goodness, way up in years. A lot of times lapsed between then and...
I don't remember meeting you.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I really
don't.
You don't remember meeting?
You were about 20, something like that?
Yeah, 21
I
or 2.
remember that
What about
all of
the
a
coon
sudden
with
I
your
knew
teeth?
him, but I
When
don't
did that
remember.
happen?
Later, that comes later.
That's after Mother?
That's right.
Look at that.
Okay,
There's
so what do you
nothing
got
in there, see?
Hey,
No, he
It's
just,
all
it
gone.
was too exciting. He didn't want to tell us about that part. What do you want to tell us about the part between 20 and
It's all gone.
Mother? When did
All gone.
anyhow, in 1940, 39 and 40, I had 5 guys working for me that belonged to the National Guard. And one of them was my brother Ernest. He's, of course, the oldest one of the bunch, but he worked for me. And I had 4 other guys. One of them Richard Ramsey, one Washer Reed, one Jimmy Reed, and some Indian that Ernest brought in there with him. And they all belonged to the National Guard. And we was running the sales barn at that time up here and doing
You
contract
like
work for the
that?
telephone company.
You like
And
that.
doing a lot of wheat sowing all over the country, renting ground, corn land, wheat land. And when they called the National Guards, I think the National Guards was called in either the end of 39 or 40, about 40 maybe. The war didn't start at 42.
You like that, baby?
41.
41, yeah.
December.
About 40, I guess, is when the National Guards was called, and they took 5 men away from me at one time, and that's when I just, instead of working 20 hours a day, I started working 24 hours a day. Thought I could, and I couldn't do it. And I got ulcer of the stomach. And had to slow down, so I had a sale, sold them out, cows out. But then when I done that, I bought another farm down there where the old Steve Brown place, and kept on farming. Finally hired me some more help. And then we bought the sales barn, started running the sales barn. And I guess if I hadn't never run the sales barn, I probably never met Mother. But I was uptown quite a bit when I ran the sales barn. So she worked at Madden, and she's in the theater. She worked in the theater.
She worked both places?
Yeah, in the front window there. You see, when you go in to go to show.
There's no window there anymore. They don't
No.
put them out in front
But they
anymore.
used to sit right in there all the time, and of course I thought she was beautiful. Was she? Okay.
Yeah, because I saw the
I'll buy that.
Yeah, she was.
I'll buy that. And anyway, I was 25 years old then. And
What a nice
we,
baby. What a nice
I kept seeing her in there and seeing her in Madlings, so I tried to
Don't you bump your
get a
head.
date with her. I'd go in Madlings after some 10-cent piece or something. Talked to her and finally got a date with her and started going with her. And that
Where'd
was
you go on your first date?
Oh, hard telling. I don't know. We didn't go anywhere probably.
You
I
don't-
can't
Oh,
can't
Edward.
remember.
boring, huh? You don't even remember.
Oh,
No,
that was a
I
big
remember
help.
going to Moberly once with you. There was a fair going on or something, and you took.
Probably took some cattle up there or something for somebody, and I'd get her to ride with me, see.
What a date.
Yeah, what a day, man. Well, we had to work. Shoot, we, and
No.
if we had a date with a girl for 7 o'clock, and if we didn't get there till 9 o'clock, that's all right too, because we couldn't help it. We had to work. If something come up.
Yeah, first time that happened, I kind of wondered about that. I didn't know if they were all right or not.
You didn't know yet that was all right.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone
I
told
heard
you.
that.
So we didn't go together for about 6 months, and
Hey,
we
better
got
take that out
married
of your
in
mouth.
December. Oh, and I was 26 years old. She was 19.
Baby.
Well, what did you dream of doing?
What did I dream of doing?
Yeah, I mean, did you all have a dream together?
Mar.
Well, I don't know. We both wanted 6 kids.
Did you?
Yeah.
Look what you got.
Yeah.
7.
Well, that's
right,
pretty
Greg?
close.
Yeah, we got 7.
Yeah, both wanted 6 kids, and my mother didn't know how to drive. She never lived on the farm before. She didn't know what a hog or cow was hardly.
Right, she didn't know how to cook, right?
No, she didn't know anything
Little
about
bit.
cooking either. Very little.
I think I've
Because
heard
her
this.
mother didn't make her do anything. We got living on a Dutchman place when we got married. still living down there, and she moved down there with us for a while. And
Whoop.
I remember we had some sows having pigs in there, you know.
Yeah.
And of course, she was good about taking care of things. Wasn't anytime I asked her to do something, she'd try her best to do it. But old sow liked to eat her up one day because she didn't pay no attention to the old sow. Going in after the pigs, the little pigs, and one of them squeal or something, she didn't have enough to throw it down and run. She didn't think about that.
Trip,
She didn't know
baby.
sow. They'll get you. But anyway, then that very spring we bought the place up here where the office is. It was in 1943, spring 43. So she didn't live down there on Dudgeon's place for about 3 months, did she?
No, not very long.
That must have been a real shock to your system. Was Grandma living down there then?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was still living there then, wasn't she?
Uh-huh.
Grace? Yeah, she was down
I would think how did you see them getting along?
Well, they got along pretty good because Grace did whatever she told her to do. You know, Grace could have hearted, and she'd
Not to be scared to death, huh?
although Mom said I was crazy for marrying a town girl, she didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
I ought to marry a country girl, somebody had some sense and knew what to do something.
She said that for about 30 years.
Yeah.
But Grace didn't pay no attention to that. She went on, which was a real fine deal. But when we moved up there, why we was by ourselves then.
I don't remember ever being by
Not
herself.
very much. Well, Harold had some help. They had a couple of guys hired that came
Yeah.
up there with
And
me.
some prisoners up there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, we had farm school boys that we'd pick up. We had to pick up somebody on the road and get
Uncle
hitchhiking.
Hillard would pick up people and bring them in, and
Oh, Uncle Hillard.
yeah, Uncle Hillard lived with us a while, and
Hillard lived with us. Bertie lived with us.
Bertie, Grandma, and Grandpa lived with us a while, Grandpa Johnmeyer.
Yeah.
And
Pop worked for me. He ran a crew for me for a good while.
he was living with us when Nancy was born, because he took care of Judy while I'd take care of Nancy. He'd sit and sing her. He'd auctioneer to sleep. He'd sit and auctioneer.
Didn't he have a house?
Well, yeah, he had one, but I don't remember.
No, I don't know
We're still busy,
exactly.
Ann.
How come?
Sorry.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know either. Where
But he
was,
lived there with
where
us.
was Mom
What
then?
is it you need?
I don't know. She while I was in the hospital with Nancy, she was out there because somebody said something about wondered how they were getting along.
They didn't both live there with us at the same time.
No, not usually, but they were there a little
You
while.
want to sit here where you
I
can
don't
get
know where
both?
she went. But Pop lived with us a while, I
Yeah.
know that, and worked for me.
Yeah.
Then he went to Florida a time or two, a couple of different years, didn't he? Picked fruit down there.
You did. He
Yeah.
was a migrant worker.
He just took off, and which I'm glad he did. He never had gotten away from home in it. Good for him, you know.
Yeah, he liked me better than Grandma did.
Well, who did Grandma like besides you?
Well, she finally got so she really liked me.
Oh, yeah.
I know
She
she
liked-
liked you,
yeah,
but
she'd
she's
take-
still bad-mouthed you.
Yeah, she'd take up for Grace Soul anytime. But my dad worked for me, all my brothers worked for me, my sister worked for me.
Yeah. I remember when Aunt Bertie worked. I remember when, what's her name? What's that other, they used to come and work in that little room, that little trailer that was stuck against the house.
Yeah, Mark Blue
Yeah,
was
Blue,
bookkeeper for a while, and Evelyn Girl.
Well, that wagon, that was
Hey,
a wagon
Connie,
that we had
Julius,
made. Huh?
he has your flyer. Well,
I don't know
don't,
that.
you're gonna make him fall.
That-
Julius, you move your chair
That's
too
all
much,
right.
he's gonna fall.
You're all right. Anyway, what did you say, boy?
Yeah, right into that
Okay,
table.
thank you, sir. So,
You're a good boy.
anyhow, that
Bob.
wagon we put on the house, hey,
Oh,
what's the matter
I
with
said I
you?
didn't mean for you to take him away.
We made that for people to sleep in
Hello.
off on jobs, see? Because we hired a lot of colored people in, and we couldn't find a place for colored people to stay. They wouldn't let them in the hotels. And,
Isn't that something?
so we made that wagon to sleep 7.
Thank
We had
you,
it made
Booger.
it to sleep
Thank
7.
you.
And we pulled
You
it
good
behind the
fella.
trucks from place to place.
Yeah, you're a good boy.
And then when, I guess when we finally found out that they could start staying somewhere else or the work dropped off or something and we needed more room because they had more kids, we cut a hole in the house there and put that wagon under and made bedrooms out of it.
Made a bedroom out of that.
Well, a bedroom, yeah. Well, we had 7 bunks in it.
It was divided into
Yeah,
two
two rooms.
parts,
It
kind of.
was divided
Really?
into 2 rooms.
I don't remember it being that big.
It's about 2 rooms.
Didn't Glenn and I stay in there for a little
I
while?
remember Glenn.
Yeah, I remember a hot water heater being in there.
Well, Judy
That
and
was the other
Nancy,
one.
that was just,
Oh.
That little tiny.
I remember
This is
Judy
the
and
other
Nancy
side of the
being in
house.
there because Nancy used to wake up with her arm
I believe
being
it.
asleep and we'd go in and rub her arm.
Honey, you're right in my
And she
way,
was in
Elizabeth Ran.
And of course, meantime, I used to coon hunt all the time. Always had dogs. Big lions and coon dogs. Most of that's coon dogs then because I never had time to go big rabbit hunting in the daytime because I always had to work. But I would do a little coon hunting, and Grace was scared to stay by herself.
What a surprise.
I'd go hunting down through the bottom there, and I'd tell them about where I was going. And when I got down there on that road, that old bridge down there, Grace was sitting down in the car waiting. I got scared at home since she come down and.
I don't remember that, but I
I
remember
do.
sitting in the corner. I'd get in the corner where nobody could get behind me or around me, and I'd have the telephone right beside me and a pistol right beside me. After I put Judy and Nancy to bed, I wouldn't get it out until I put them to bed. I was afraid I'd shoot them. But one night I ended up staying by myself without meaning to.
Yeah.
Well, Grandpa was going to stay there with me until Daddy said he'd be home at midnight, so. Grandpa sat there and he got sleepy, put his head over on the table and went to sleep. Or he sat there in the chair and went to sleep. I watched him sit there and sleep a while. I went to bed. And so he saw that I had gone to bed and he got up and left. And didn't get home until 6 in the morning.
Didn't even know enough to be scared, huh?
I was asleep.
Well, that's too bad, Mother.
Missed out on that one, didn't you?
Think how much you could have enjoyed your fright.
You could have not slept at all that night.
Is it time to tell us about catching the coon with your son?
Yeah, then we used to go up the highway hunting, and we had, when I had that 48 Buick convertible, why we went to Iowa and Illinois both. And of course we went for that time or two too, but the season I was open 2 weeks ahead of time up there, ahead of our season. And Emil and Amos Comstock went with us, and myself, 3 of us went. We went to Iowa to go hunting. So this one particular time, why Emil and Amos Comstock and I went up there, and Emil was scared to go by himself, so I said, well, we go. No need all 3 of us going together. We had 3 sets of dogs. Really, Amos Comstock had his own dogs, and we had 2 good dogs. And I said, we'll get more coons if we go by ourselves. Each one go separate. But they wouldn't do it, so I said, well, I'll go by myself. Y'all 2 go together. And we went out on the road there that night and come across the creek. We didn't get up right after dark, but anyhow, it looked like a pretty good place. And I said, well, y'all let me out here and y'all go on wherever you want to. And just come back here about 12 o'clock now. 12 or 1 o'clock, and I was trying to be up by this road.
You went down with the baby?
So, went on down there hunting, and dogs hit a coon track and run that coon everywhere around there. And finally treed him
Oh, here, you want this?
up a den oak tree. An oak tree that was holler from top to bottom. And I was by myself, so I climbed this tree, and over the top of it, and looked down. I could look down in there, and I could see the coon right down in the bottom of that tree. I mean, it was big. And so, I had no way of getting him out.
You have a flashlight?
Oh, yeah.
So why are you
flashlight,
beating me
yeah,
on the back?
flashlight. So I crawled down that tree and went to the barbed wire fence there somewhere close by and cut off a piece of farmer's barbed wire fence. So I thought it wouldn't hurt anything to cut off a piece. Cut off a piece about 40 foot long, tied it to my belt, and tied it with a flashlight. Up that tree I went again, see. Run that wire down in there, and I finally got a hold of that coon. And I pulled that coon up, and it happened to be a tree that, well, the hole wasn't but about that big around, see, where he went in. But it got bigger, it went down, and a good place for me to stand. So it was an ideal spot to work. I finally got that coon all the way up to the top of that hole, and I couldn't get that bastard out. Man, I'm telling you, every time I'd pull on that coon, the coon swell up, see? And I couldn't pull him out of that hole. And I had to hold one hind leg and his tail. And I pulled and pulled and pulled till my hands was getting cramped, it was giving out. And I couldn't get that coon out. And I said, well, I gotta try something else. So I just put his hind foot in my mouth, clamped down on it, and I pulled with my teeth as hard as I could pull, and pulled with both hands. And every time I just kept pulling, that coon would swell up, you know, and then when he'd breathe, I'd gain about that much, see. Every time he'd breathe, I'd gain a little. And finally I pulled that bastard out there and gave him a throw, and my dogs had already went to sleep under the tree. And missed the coon when I threw him in. Of course I hollered, yee, sick him. But missed the doggone coon, but they took off after him, and you talking about having a chase, I had a chase then, a real chase. Run him about a half a mile, and run him in the ground. Run the coon in the ground. So, when I got down the tree and got over there, well, finally got to where the dogs was, well, there they was digging in the ground, see, after this coon. And the coon was a big coon, about the biggest coon I'd ever seen, because the coon was bigger than I was near here. And so,
Honey, you're pouring it all.
I went and cut me a sharp stick with a hatchet. I always carried a good hatchet with us. Cut a good sharp stick and sharpened it down. Help them dogs dig that coon out. Of course, I didn't know how deep the hole was, but I didn't think it was too big, deep. Up on that hillside.
What's wrong,
And
Andrew?
while I was digging there, helping the dogs dig that coon out, why, here I saw a couple flashlights coming. And already about 2 o'clock by then, you see. And the boys had come back to the road, and they heard my dogs when I throwed the coon out, the dogs went to bark, and they heard the dogs then. And then they heard him tree, and they finally said, well, we just gotta go after Julius, it's hard to tell what he's doing. So I was there helping them dogs dig that coon out with a stick, and my little 2-cell flashlight, or 3-cell, whatever I had, 3-cell probably. And Amos come start walking up there to me, and Amos said, what in the damn hell are you doing here digging a dog, trying to dig a coon out for? So don't you know there's other coons in the woods? I said, yeah, I know they are. But this one here made me work so hard I wanted that one.
Want that one.
I said, that's me. And while I was standing there telling them the story, the dogs got down there to him and pulled that bastard out. And we had a doggone fight over that hillside. We hardly ever shot a coon, because we always like to see the dogs fighting. Oh yeah, shoot, we taught them dogs how to fight, man. They dogs had to fight that coon. And we had the nurse fight you ever saw, boy. And one of them dogs was bloody all over.
Excuse me.
Well, what fun. You guys probably didn't get to many movies, huh?
We got the coon. But anyhow, we got the coon and got back there, and they beat me that night. They got 2 or 3, and I didn't get but 1.
You had 2 dogs?
Yeah.
Well, 2 dogs ought to be able to take a coon down pretty quick.
Well, not necessarily. One of them was Old Queen. One of them was Old Queen. She was a little female, and the other was a greenhorn. See? And this was a big coon.
Old Queen and the Greenhorn.
They weren't too good male.
No. They wasn't what you call good fighters, see. But this young dog thought she was good.
I was gonna say, like when I used to have Charlie Bear, they
Oh, well, yeah, sure.
they jump on something together and make pretty short work of it.
That's right. But no, they didn't have them kind of dogs right there then.
Careful,
Because
Buster.
Emil had a pair of
Don't you fall
spotted
with
hounds
that
with him
sword.
that was pretty good
Be
fighters.
careful.
But mine wasn't too good. So that, and I don't know how many coons we got up there that time. We got a whole bunch of them. We had a big time. We went up there in an old army truck that year. An old army reconnaissance car, they called it, 4-wheel drive. And had some kind of homemade cab or something on it. The 3 of us went up there in that. Had her doghouse in the back.
What'd you do in the daytime?
Slept.
Told stories.
Slept. And looked around for another place to hunt that night. You know.
We were, Aunt Lois and I went with him one time, and we were driving somewhere, either headed home or something. And of course, Daddy went to sleep. He was sitting up there by Uncle Emil. All of a sudden, he jumped up and grabbed the wheel away from him. He had a dream, I guess, that we were running into something. He jumped up and grabbed that wheel. Get back to the
Stay on the
car.
road, huh?
Yeah, we stayed on the road.
Mark's back in there.
Do you know how you got your name? I mean, how come they named you Julius?
No, I don't.
You named after somebody, probably. Your mother said she'd like to name you boys after somebody that amounts.
Julius Neff. There was a Neff by the name of Julius. He lived in St. Louis, and he was grandma's uncle, I believe, or uncle or second cousin or something. That's I think where it is. Got Julius.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
How come you didn't go to the army?
How come I didn't go to the army? Shoot, I wanted to go to the army worst I can. When they first started taking young men in the service back in about 38. First year we got down on that Dudgeon place. Emil was already married, and Raymond and I decided we just were to go, so we went down to St. Louis to sign up with the Marines. And Raymond wanted to take several dollars with him. He had stacked up, 4 or 5. I said, no, I don't take no money with you. I said, we don't need but $1. That's all we need. We went down there with the truck driver, cattle truck, And took her examination, and I didn't pass on account I had a hernia from operation, from appendicitis operation. I had to wear a 4-inch belt. I wore a 4-inch belt for years, kind of a hernia here. And so they wouldn't take me, and so Raymond passed, but Raymond wouldn't go without me.
And he had a choice.
Yeah, he had a choice then, yeah. So we came back home, and we hitchhiked home. And we finally got as far as Kingdom City down there, and we couldn't catch it. It got midnight, I guess, midnight by that time, and we were sleepy, or maybe 1 or 2 o'clock, and we couldn't find no ride. So I told them, and run us out of the station. We sat in the station and went to sleep, and they run us out. So we went down the road and got up in a hollow, the draw that comes down off the bank, and we got up in that draw and laid there side by side and went to sleep till daylight. And then we went hitchhiking again, and Raymond said he'd never go any more with me unless he took some money with him. I could burn Raymond up. Yeah, you ought to hear him tell about it.
He likes to be comfortable, doesn't he?
Yeah, he bothered me.
What road did you have to get to St. Louis on there? I-70 evidently wasn't there.
Oh, no, I-70 wasn't there, no. Just that real old 40 was there.
Yes, they really have changed
Do
a
the
lot.
same thing to stop.
Yeah, that's changed.
Trying to find
Get your eye
the
right up
See,
on it.
Michael,
For me to
on
believe that
camera,
things could change that
that was
much.
climbing on the
over
stairs
last
again.
time. Everybody thinks that.
Well,
Somebody
no,
Somebody like my
grandmother
grandmother
was
was
90 years old, and they didn't even, there wasn't even any kind of airplanes or things like that, cars.
Yeah.
Had a good train too, Fayette.
Yeah. I'm wondering if they might not need to go back to some alternate form of transportation besides airplanes, because the skies seem to be getting a little crowded and the accidents a little too often.
Well, you got a lot of accident on highways too. You just don't hear about
It's
it.
true, but you don't kill 200 people at once.
Yeah, but you have, more than 200 times as many accidents.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You kill more by cars than you do by planes by far.
Yeah, it just seems that it's increasing
Yeah.
in the air, and they're having lots of problems with them.
All right, wave.
Too many people in the airspace.
That's good. Why does it say light, light, light?
I don't know.
Why don't you cut that thing off for a minute, Donna, and then we'll talk about something if you want to talk about it. You don't want to.
Oh.
Okay, I can cut it off. I think we put quite a lot on here
Yeah.
for now. The kids are begging to do the decorations. The green light's still on though.
Are
Numbers
the
of-
numbers stopping?
No. I better try that again.
Where did you
Let's
take the
see.
rabbits,
Let's see.
chickens, and turkeys to sell?
Back in that time when we was hauling rabbits and turkeys to Chicago, because we hunted a whole lot ourselves, and people bought rabbits to us all the time, and I also bought furs. Bought coons and possums, skunks, and things like that. I was a fur buyer. And we also took fur up there to Chicago and got rid of that. But anyhow, we was hunting rabbits out here one day, down here where Clarence Hammond lives now. And that was all in brush there, and somebody had cut a lot of wood in there and put a lot of brush piles in there. And it was snow on the ground, some. And we went in there hunting rabbits, and the dogs running the rabbits around all the time, and we was shooting the heck out of them. Of course, didn't have, well, we had rifles and shotguns, yeah, but we had to be awful careful about how we used our shotgun shots, because we didn't get 10 cents for a rabbit. And we didn't have money to throw away. Anyhow, the dogs kept running rabbits in a hole down there. And finally, I went down there, and the dogs brought another rabbit in that hole, and come find out the dogs reached in there and pulled him out. So I said, well, that made me investigate a little bit. And I got on my knees there and started reaching in there, and I got 2 or 3 rabbits out of there. So I told Aim on them, I said, go to the truck and give us a shovel or two. I said, we're gonna dig some rabbits out of here, and we got dug 28 rabbits out of that one hole. It wasn't a hole till the hole filled up. That's all was to it. That's hard to believe. I tell that to Bob Young and Herb Palmer and them was playing cards up there that night, and I said, now this is a true story. And they laughed.
What was that? I missed it.
Like a rabbit story about putting 28 rabbits out of one hole.
Yeah.
You heard me tell it.
Yeah.
Mama, I have go pie.
Well, that's like getting 12 skunks out of one hole. That's a lot of skunks to be in one hole, too.
Did you get 12 skunks out?
Why, now done right. We hauled the water with a team wagon and barrels over there to the hole. My dad knew there was all skunks in there. I didn't know it because I was about 11 or 12 years old, but he knew it. Went over and poured that water in there and got 12 skunks out of one hole. And that was good money, boy. That time you got $2 or $3 a head for him and a piece for him.
What were you doing with your hands up?
That was awful good money then.
Oh.
And coons, of course, we'd get one coon a night or two, we'd be prized. If we just got one night, we'd be well satisfied.
This is.
Coons bring
But didn't eventually the old people get to where they hunted them to where there wasn't any?
Yeah, almost.
Everybody.
How about rabbits? Did they ever get them
Well, I need
down?
to-
No, rabbit scarce now, man.
Katie's getting all right.
Just a lot of less for rabbit hide, see.
Yeah, well, there aren't many rabbits now.
I didn't know that, but she
Do
said,
you
well,
have
I've
any
always
coyotes
hated
running
it,
around
so
there?
Not very
let me
many.
see if I can get
Not very many.
something.
I don't remember very many cows. I remember we used to haul wood to town, 7 miles from the record place down to the town with a team wagon.
What is that?
And all these
I
roads
thought
had
this
high
was
banks.
winter hay.
The little narrow roads
What
had
is
high
it?
banks.
Winter hay.
I don't know how the bank of curve, grass would hang over and the rabbits hide underneath there. We always carried a rifle or 22 pistol with us, and we'd kill 3 or 4 or 5 rabbits, maybe sometimes 6 on the way to town. Of course, we knew where to go sell them. We'd sell them for 10 or 15 cents a piece. And then on the way home, what we got on the way home, we'd eat.
And I've seen them in a lot of.
Always got something on the way home.
They have, you know, they have.
And so you get more rabbits accidentally then than you can now if you get out there and really hunt them.
And they're real cute, a lot of my country
And that's,
But the coons eventually hunted them to where there wasn't any.
oh, we just hunted them down.
$1.50 a piece or something.
And there never was a deer. At that time, there wasn't a deer in the country, not around here. No deer whatsoever. Didn't know what a deer
Yeah.
was.
Well, I really need to.
We'd catch a mink, 1 or 2 minks a year, and they was good money. They was
Let me see if I can
$15,
find
$20. And that was really something then.
There just absolutely weren't any deer, right?
No, wasn't any deer then. But deer started coming in, I think, in about 40, if I remember right.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about in the 30s. Wasn't any deer in the 30s.
Donna, tell me that they're doing.
Not in this
Oh,
area.
good. Well, that'll keep the kids quiet a while. The kids were all excited about their.
So that's changed a lot too.
They'd been hunted out.
Yeah, they've been hunted out, and nobody's done anything to keep them, see. We didn't have no conservation department then, none whatsoever. So, that made a big, big difference. We got, one night we went hunting over in Tupper County. After we moved over here, we went hunting over in Tupper County, and we got 12 skunks and 2 coons one night with dogs. Just 2 dogs, I know we didn't have over 2. One dog done most of it. He done half of it. And another night we went over there, we got 7 skunks, 5 possums, and 2 coons.
Everybody in my family.
First night of the season. And that was real good. Real good.
Oh, well, I just didn't know. I didn't know you collected baseball cards.
Huh?
You know, they just can't quite figure it out.
What do they
You know
use
what
Julius, what do they use the skunk for? The fur or the...
Fur.
Kevin
Yeah.
did all.
But we never did eat skunk. We eat everything else, but we never did eat skunk.
Well,
But
on Friday.
I think it'd be
And
good
we
if
have
you
2
kept
of them
the
that
scent
are,
off
that are
it.
cute. Now, I think
Good
they're
looking red meat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One in a
sure
royal
would be.
uniform and one in a carpet.
Good
Oh,
looking
they're
red
so cute.
But we never did eat them. But, these black skunks are narrow striped. They had just a little white on them. They'd bring about, $4, $5, $6. And narrow stripes would bring 3 or 4, and broad stripes would bring 2 maybe.
Well, that's how I did.
Different prices, different years, of course.
Well, yeah, well, this
Up and down.
isn't exactly like it, but it's very
Well, I
And
doubt
possums,
I'm gonna use it. So
possums
don't
are
worry
worth
about
50 cents to $1.50.
Some of the things in there, I really, I mean,
That would work. That's all you get in a day's work.
I would kind of
50
like.
cents or a dollar.
in a
And
way,
if you go to Possum, you had a day's work.
Okay, well, I.
What if you had a cow die or you butchered one or something? Was it that how it was? Was it did you
Yeah.
save it, sell it?
Oh yeah, we'd always sell the hide.
Well, I don't see it, Kathy, anyway, but it was.
My dad used to, and we done some of it. We used to buy old mules and horses from people that they got old or something got wrong with them, got syphilis or something on their neck and something wrong with it. He'd go buy them and us boys would go get them and we'd bring them out at the farm and shoot them, skin them and let the hogs eat the carcasses and we'd take the hide down. So.
That boy is not very modest.
When you could buy them real cheap.
Yeah, you can buy them for a couple dollars.
You're a good boy.
Or maybe some guys give them to you, see?
I found a
And the
bunch
hide
of stuff.
would be
And I
worth,
took it to work with some
if I remember
guy.
right,
Found a bunch of stuff
up
in
to
the
$6,
shoe.
$8, $10.
And that has pretty things.
And
Well,
the
some of
hogs
them weren't too bad.
done real good on it
I'll
because
tell
that's
you what I
just
wanted.
like
It's
feeding
just
them
totally
package.
ridiculous.
They really went after it.
I thought those were cute.
Yeah, they are cute.
We done shot quite a few of them
I'll show
that
you.
way.
It's that cute. Oh, no, this isn't.
Quite a bit of work skinning out a horse.
It is.
Not so bad.
Yeah, that's
Look,
cute.
It's
That
not
is-
if you got something to hang it on,
And
but
I
you start
think
rolling
these
around
are
the ground.
serious.
Two people's not
Yeah,
a
this,
big deal.
I mean, it'd be fun.
It didn't take long
Sure would.
to skin them out.
But I,
It's
you know,
getting
for
pretty easy,
$20,
really.
I don't think it's
Is that what
cute.
it
It's about
is?
like a cow. Do pretty good, pretty good.
I asked Andrew if they had fun.
Dad used to go to
Saturday.
Arkansas and buy
He said,
Arkansas
yeah.
hogs. They called them Arkansas hogs. And bring them home and
My
we'd
sister said
put them in
she
the
wanted one
cornfield.
of these coffee filters.
And I mean, they was
I'd
wild.
like to have one of those.
Razorback hogs.
But, of course, I could
And
use
if
two,
some of
but
them
I
got out,
wouldn't
we
take the
always had a
price
pretty
of
good dog.
one
And
out before
Yeah.
I remember going where people called and said they had some hogs in the cornfield or something. We'd take a dog down there. If he'd get on their track, he'd run them till he caught them. And bam, and sometimes he'd catch them in the ham and hold them till we got there.
I don't know how I had
Well,
to
he
do it.
got a hold of the
Those
old hog, just sat on his butt and stay there till we got him.
Those are cute.
But
Oh, I didn't
that's
know.
what you call a trained dog, though.
Yeah,
That's
that's sweet.
dog that you had to be with all the time, you know.
They had a rug in here.
That old
Oh,
dog,
yeah, I think it's.
that coon dog.
Is that it, or is it towards
I
the
told
back?
somebody the other night about that. He said, "You mean a coon dog?" I said, "That's not a
My,
coon dog."
Canister sets wearing out.
We cut
But
a
I
lot of
like
corn
the
in
type
and
where
we
it all
cut
stacks
the,
together.
Yeah.
But it's cracking
chuck the
open.
corn out in the
I've had it
wintertime,
for years. I
out of the
don't
shock,
know.
set the shock back up, or fed it to the cattle.
But,
If a mouse run out of that dog had him, or a rat, I mean, he'd watch him do like a, I don't know what, say,
A coon house.
a coon is, right.
Red or
Or
black.
black and white spotted.
I think those are cute.
And if we wanted to get the cows up, he'd go get the cows up. He'd run the horses in the barn.
Somebody's crying.
He'd go after anything we told him to go after. He'd
That's
treat
laughing.
possums, skunks,
No.
coons.
No, Anna's laying
In the
down.
daytime, he'd run
Oh,
rabbits. If we
someone
was
should
cutting out, or and a squirrel dog out of this world.
I hear 'em
He'd
laughing
just do
now,
anything, you
they're
know.
so
Of course,
sad.
we were with him all the time.
Oh, they are.
We'd go to the field
Yeah.
and
Those are just pretty things.
work as a team and put it every afternoon.
And I don't think
The
I've
weather was
ever,
right.
well, I'm sure I haven't ever.
That dog would go to the woods about 4 o'clock in the evening, and he'd trim a groundhog. He'd find a groundhog. Most of the time, he'd find one.
One year Connie wanted
And,
one of them glasses. and
When
I
we
got
come in at night,
green
if we wasn't close to him, we'd
I've seen those.
go ahead and work the day out and brought our team in at night. We'd go down there and get old Mr. Groundhog, and skin him and eat him.
Pretty good eating.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Real dark.
Oh, that's what
meat.
I was going to
Real
tell you
good.
all at noon about Wallace Bentley's parents. Millie was a good cook, and they invited us up to eat groundhog one night, or possum.
Oh, I don't know, it might have been groundhog. Got possum good too. We eat lots of possums.
We went up to eat with them, and she fixed us a really good meal, and they wouldn't eat with us. They sat us at the table, and they sat off by themselves.
'Cause they wouldn't eat with us because at that time whites and blacks just didn't eat together. And they,
So they cooked for us, and we ate at their table, and they ate somewhere else.
You mean they were brought up that way?
Yeah,
right.
that's what they wanted to do. They
But-
didn't.
You all used to hire black people and bring them in the house and they'd eat with you.
oh yeah.
Well, yeah, and we would have. It
We
was
stopped
fine with
that
us
too.
if they ate with us that night, but they didn't want to. They didn't.
That just started turning in the late 40s, you know. That's about what time that started turning. And we was one of the first ones around here to turn it because we always had colored guys working for us. And I thought a lot of them, and I always thought they was just as good as I was. As long as it was
But
honest.
Geneva wouldn't eat at the
Good
table
work.
with us.
No, she wouldn't.
Geneva said, I don't know, they were having all that trouble down Little Rock. And she said, I don't know why those chaps want to go where they aren't wanted. That's what she always called them, chaps.
Yeah.
That dog you were talking about, did it mind if strangers came to your house?
Oh yeah.
Was he a watchdog?
Yes, he's a watchdog. He'd jump up and down and howl boo boo. Had a big bald mouth, you know. Big bald mouth. Boy, you always tell when somebody was out there. We'd have to go out there. There's people scared of him. I don't think he ever bit anybody, but he'd sure let us know when somebody's out there. And we'd play with him, go out there and play with him, and boy, we had I really liked that dog. He died on Wednesday, April 20th, 1932. I'll never forget it. I don't get it, because I remember it now. It was like losing one of the family.
We're still telling stories?
Well, we have been.
You just gonna wait for another one to come out? Get
Sure.
The rabbit story, huh?
What have you been doing, Phil?
Well, I started on those decorations. I really don't want to do them. I guess I'll go back in there.
Talking
Okay,
about
I'll put some water on the
another
stove.
one of them true story deals that you guys won't believe. We was out in Colorado hunting one time, Ernest and I, and another young guy that came with Ernest. We was riding down the trail and over on the across the canyon, the hillside, we saw a couple of deer. So Ernest put the brakes on right quick and stopped. And Ernest got on that side and I got on the other side. And of course, I was on the left, Ernest was on the right. He said, Julius, I'll take the one on the right. You take the one on the left. I said, okay. So we both shot. They standing over across the canyon there looking at us. We both shot at the same time. And the boys with us said, Julius, you got two. And the 3 deers dropped. And that's another thing a lot of people won't believe. But there was. There was this old doe and had 2 fawns. Foreign, they were standing side by side. And this bull, the one I shot at went right through one and hit the other and killed the bull. And Ernest got his. We had 3 deer. 2 shots.
That's saving on ammunition.
That's right. That's saving. Yeah, that's right.
When did you first go to Colorado? What year?
In '54.
Well, that's different, you know.
Was that just something you'd been wanting to do, or just kind of up and did it?
No, I've always wanted to do it. Always wanted to do it, and always loved to hunt of any kind, and never had a chance to hunt deer. Was no deer around here. Cold Blaze had been out there. One of his friends had moved out there, and he'd been out there 1 year before that. I went out there, and this year he wanted me to go. So he came out. He was a welder and my shop man. He'd done all my shop work, welding. And he come out and wanted me to go hunting with him out there. And I said, Colt, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I got too much to do. I got 80, 100 men working. And I said, no way in the world I can get away. Man, yes, you can. He said, we won't be out there but a week or 10 days. I said, I can't do it. So he went back to town. Next night he come out again. Wanted me to go hunting with him. Just begged me to go. And I said, Colt, I can't go. I didn't even have a big gun in it. I had to borrow one when it did finally go. But anyway, he came out again that next night, begged me to go. And when he left that night, I told him I couldn't go. And he said, well, when he went back home, he said, well, I'll tell you one thing, Julius. He said, one of these days they're going to bury you 6 foot on the ground and you won't go hunting then. I thought about that night. Next morning I called him up. I said, Colt, I'm going with you. And I went every year since, somewhere. Went 15 years straight out of Colorado. 15 years.
So you borrowed a gun the first time?
Yeah, I borrowed a gun from, let's see, who was it? Borrowed a 30-30 from somebody. I forgot who it was. Might have been, probably John Stapleton. I think it was John Stapleton. And the next year I wanted a bigger gun. And he let me have a 357 Magnum rifle.
375
Oh, 375 inch, yeah, right. And man, that was some gun. the boys all knew when I shot out in the woods, they knew it because it was louder than any other gun around there. So. And then the next year, I think I bought a 30-06. I bought it in 1956, I believe.
Is that the one you still have, or did you have a different one? For...
No, that's that old pump.
But it was new to me.
That's the old pump. Yeah.
Might like to be less.
A lot of things went on.
My goodness, what's wrong?
What kind of work were you doing then to, making money on?
Well, I had a levy job up there in San Joe then, and when I lost all that money on, I had that in '54.
You don't want it?
And we were doing a lot of telephone work too, and quite a bit of fun. We had a lot of men working for the telephone company.
I told him.
All strictly contract orders, none by the hour, and I'd have to go look at all those, see and bid on it. That took a lot of time. Took a lot of time.
What did you do with the telephone company? Just trim right away?
Then we was, yeah, but before that we built a lot of telephone lines too. But at that time I think we just turned right away. Right after World War II, we started building telephone lines in 46 or 7. That's 46.
War didn't end until late in 45.
Late 45. 46, I had a brand new Ford car. I remember Bertie went with us, and she wasn't very old then, about 17 or 18. Up to Hannibal, and had a trailer behind that car, like one of these brush trailers, and I gave her the maps and give her 2 college boys to help her, and then she placed all the poles up where they had the stakes set up and down those roads all around there. She hauled all the poles up. She wasn't but 16 or 17 years old, and pulled that trailer behind that car. So I know it was 46, all 46. And then 46, 47, 48, and 49 we built a lot of telephone lines.
Oh, down there.
And then that quit for a while, but we still had a lot of right of way clearing every
What do
year.
you mean quit? Other people started doing it, or?
No, I think it just quit for a while. The way I remember, it quit for a year or two, and then they went and built some more, and we built some, and we done a little work for fire company up here at Sweet Springs. Set some poles and started some more up there for them. And then they started burying cable somewhere about, well, I think in the 50s, middle 50s, I think they started burying cable.
I didn't realize they started that long ago.
I believe they did.
I remember y'all burying cable.
Of course, we might have if I hadn't made an extra batch.
Well, see, I had all them bulldozers, and I had a bunch of bulldozers then too, because I had them bulldozers. I bought the bulldozers in 48 and 49 and 50, 51. I bought a bulldozer every year, sometimes 2. What? TikTok? I don't know where TikTok is, sugar. And I bought those bulldozers, and they started burying cable shortly after I bought the bulldozers. So it's about 50, middle 50s, I think it started burying cable. That big toll cable was raised from Mobley to Fayette here in Roseville. It's one of the first ones I ever saw.
Jay, you were too little to ride that train with them. Yeah, between here and Mobley when they were looking at clearing, weren't you? The man told Daddy to quit feeding Glenn potatoes. It was making his head too big.
Yeah, he said, "Well, you better quit feeding that more potatoes. His head's getting too big." Yeah, once a year, we would ride that railroad train to Mobley and look at those telephone lines, and I'd take notes down as I went, rode up there, and when I come back, I'd tell him how many dollars we'd take to cut it out. And they'd write up the contract, and we'd cut it out. This boy here's talking about hard to bid on the work here today, you know. He said,
Eric, yeah. I went to jail once.
it's all what you get used to.
That Elizabeth has quite a giggle.
Get used to.
Where'd you get that bear?
This bear here?
Mm-hmm.
Got him in Montana. Yeah. Got that bear in Montana.
What year was it?
That bear, let's see, what year was it?
I was pretty young then.
I've got it down somewhere. I've got it down in the book when I got him, but I forgot when it was. Well, I'd already built this house.
Yeah, he'd already built this.
So you wasn't too awful young.
No, but it was before I went.
Yeah. It was about, I'd say around 12, 14 years ago. Something like that. That was
No,
up.
it couldn't have been. I went in 73. The winter of 73, I went to Canada.
13 years ago.
Yeah, and it was before that.
You went where, Jay?
Canada with them hunting. Remember when the Gleasons went?
But it was probably just a year or two before that. Anyhow, we was up in Montana, and I wanted to get a bear of the worst of kind, so I took 3 other guys with me up on top of the mountain, and they was a jeep as far as we could go, and then we all went our separate way, and I hunted the roughest ground around the worst bluffs up there, looking for a bear, and I had to climb a tree to get on a tree to come. That tree was up through a crevice there, and I had to go down that tree to get down to where I'd seen a lot of tracks down there along this bluff. And I thought there was bear tracks, but I couldn't tell from where I was at. And I went down there and found out there were bear tracks. And but the little old hole there under the bluff there that I could see where I was standing, I didn't think was big enough for a bear to get in of any size. And while I was standing there, I heard him pat his feet. And I backed off from him and shot back in there, and he just rolled over and over and roared and went on. And every time he'd stop, I'd shoot in there again. He'd do the same thing. And
You're making a camera shake here.
yeah, he did the same thing. So, and I was about 10 feet out from the hole, all further I could get, because the bluff right there went straight down. So, after I shot in it 2 times with 30-06, I said, well, I better not shoot anymore, because I wasn't going to get caught loading that gun and let the bear come out on me. I wanted at least 2 or 3 shells left in there. So I shot back in there with that 38 special. And finally, he turned over and over in there and went on until he kicked right in there, so I saw 1 foot. He was laying there, I could tell he was laying on his back, the way his foot was sticking out there. His foot came out in the light enough that I could see his foot, hind foot. And he was breathing like he was breathing through the blood curling in his throat. And I said, well, he won't go nowhere. So I left there and went up to the Jeep to get some help. He got up over the Jeep, well, one of the guys was there, had built him a little fire warming up his sandwich. And while I was telling him about it, one of the other guys came in, and I had a sandwich there too, and we warmed up my sandwich, and we all 3 ate it back there. Ate our sandwich, and then we walked back down there. We was gone with him there about 2 hours, 2.5. Got back down there, took a flashlight with us. Got back down there, and the damn bear was gone. Looked in, and the bear was gone. So we looked down on the hillside there, and walked a little bit right along that bluff, and looked around good, and there we saw the old bear standing down there against a tree. He was sicker than the devil, just kind of reeling back and forth. And we started walking down there, when he heard us coming, he took off along with the hillside. And I shot him again, shot him through the neck that time, and he just doubled up like a big ball and went rolling over and over and over down that bluff he went. His first seat thing. And
Okay. Now, I would say that that's by, you take that road, the one we used to go to Kansas City, that goes up by the Kevin Ball Street, and goes
towards Kansas City. And we just half a mile up from there.
Is this Highway 5?
Highway 5 is over here. No, two. Ernest and Amos. Ernest and Amos, two, yeah.